I'm going to give you two options, right? Option one is you take a really skilled high school basketball player that is 5'10". You know nothing else about them. You take them and you want them to do well in the NBA. You put them in the NBA. They're 16 years old. Or you could take a really bad basketball player that's a wide receiver in the NFL and you're going to put them in the NBA and you want them to do well. Which one are you picking to do better? High school. Okay. Most people would say, okay, high school. It would be a debate. It would be a coin flip. And here's my argument, and this is what I think people should know. People think of getting better as like such a linear game, which it could be. At the same time, there are thresholds of you have to be at this level to be able to advance to this part of the video game. Like you have to be at least level 25 to unlock this story or whatever. I think that's how it works for the most part with basketball. You have to be this athletic to play college basketball. There's a certain threshold. You have to be this athletic to play in the NBA, and people don't understand that because when people watch NBA on TV, the camera angle that you see, it dilutes it, and it makes it seem like everybody's not that athletic. But in actuality, if you looked at them in real life, you'd be like, holy moly, these guys are all way taller than me, and they're way faster than me, and they have longer arms than me, and they jump higher than me. Like Jalen Brunson has a 37-inch approach vert. There's 5 people in our gym that have a 37-inch approach vert. And Jalen Brunson is viewed as a skilled player. He's somebody that uses his skill. So what's the point of this whole thing? When you look at what is the definition of skill, people want to get more skilled so that they could play at college, play Division I, and they think that if they improve their skill, they're going to get better. But then you have to define skill, and it's so much broader than what people think. Skill is just your ability to complete a task. That is your skill. You have a task, and how skilled you are at that task is your ability to do it successfully. That makes you more skilled. So then you look at what makes it easier for you to complete a task. I don't know what people want from skill. Like, I don't know what Micans don't get you more skilled. I don't know what Micans do. I don't know what form shooting does. I don't know why form matters. I don't know why footwork inherently matters. What are the things that you need to do in order to break down the barriers that are holding you back from completing the task? That makes you more skilled. And if the prerequisite for you being able to get in the paint and make a play is the fact that you need to be faster, then you being faster with the ball in your hands will make you more skilled. But then when people train ball handling, they don't train in a way that makes them faster with the ball in their hands. There's literally nothing else to it. People want to say, oh, you need to take this frame that you have and become more skilled. And I have no idea what they're even talking about. And I have all the freaking background because I went to physical therapy school. I understand motor learning research. I've read almost everything. The dean of the physical therapy program at New York Medical College sat on boards of research review, and he did so much around motor learning research. He did a little bit with stroke research, CVAs, but everything was tied back into motor learning, which is related to physical therapy. But PT, people think pain, people think whatever. And we would have conversations for hours, and I would talk to him all the time about, and I don't know what people think when they think of skill. Skill is literally your ability to successfully complete the task, period. And people define it in their brains in a way that's not useful. But if you really looked at what are the demands of you actually completing the task successfully, becoming more skilled, and you worked on eliminating the barriers to complete those things, you would become better. So I'll paint this picture for you. You have player A who spends all of his time in his training, form shooting, doing Micans to feel good, get his touch right, works on his footwork on the wing. Okay, if you look at those 3 things that he's working on, or his stationary ball handling he's doing, you look at those 4 things that he's working on or she's working on, and you say, okay, awesome, you're doing skill work. This is like just skill development. How are those things actually breaking down the demands that you're experiencing in the game? And if they're not breaking down those things, they're not getting you better. If they're not breaking down the demands of the thing, you're not getting better. If you work on footwork, if it's not helping you score more, then it's not helping you. If you're working on footwork so that you could look good to somebody else's subjective opinion, then you're doing a good job. But if you're actually working on footwork in a way where you think that it's supposed to help you in a game and it's not helping you in the game, then it's not getting you more skilled. Footwork's supposed to make you faster. The way we work on footwork or movement work is we do shin angle change and falling. That's a problem people have. They can't handle low positions. The experience of letting go and changing their center of gravity and getting that feel and building that tolerance and building up the strength in the positions that they need in order to get lower so that they could actually move better, so that they can move faster. It all comes back to speed. They're a threat to get to a spot. It's not like, oh, I have to put my foot in X position because somebody said so. That's not real. You look at Kyrie against Anthony Edwards right now, and something that I wrote down on the board. When Kyrie's dribbling the ball and he's not doing anything, in that moment in time where he's just dribbling and looking around, a fifth grader can do that. A fifth grader can dribble and look around. But when Anthony Edwards is guarding Kyrie, just dribbling and looking around, he's not pressing him all the way. But if a fifth grader was on the court, Anthony Edwards, who smells blood, he wants to kill you to get the ball, he's going to press the fifth grader. Why would he press the fifth grader and not Kyrie if they're doing the same exact thing? It's because there's a known threat of the skill, the capability that he has to complete different tasks where he cannot do that. It becomes a game of chess, and people want to say, oh, use your brain better. You have to be a smarter player. Maybe you don't need to be a smarter player. Maybe you're just not good in any domain, and then nobody's going to guard you and perceive you as a threat in anything else. Kyrie's so hard to guard because he's skilled in so many different areas. He is physically capable to complete tasks with another human guarding him in so many different ways that he's a threat everywhere else. If you're not skilled in a bunch of different ways, or you're not super skilled in a couple of ways, you have no chance. A point that is super valid when it comes to skill development, getting better at a task, is specificity. Do the thing that you want to get better at. The problem is people don't understand what they're actually doing. For example, they'll take a snapshot of Anthony Edwards. He has a 1,000,000-inch vertical jump, dunking on somebody. Since Anthony Edwards is 50 inches off the ground, this is essentially what people do, believe it or not. I'm going to suspend myself with ropes 50 inches off the ground and dunk the ball. He's doing it. No. Don't. I know that response, but I'm doing the extreme scenario of what people do. Like, this is what people do, essentially, but it just looks better. It doesn't look as crazy, but it's the same craziness in my eyes. That's why we freak out about it. Suspend yourself 50 inches off the ground. He's doing that. He's 50 inches off the ground. Why does that look so dumb? Because you're not accounting for how he actually got there. How did he get there? What is he going to do after it? What is the context of when it comes to specificity? That's being specific. He's 50 inches off. I'm 50 inches off the ground. It's not specific, though. You're not in context of the thing. And when you actually do the thing, do the entire thing, and you're not trying to break down into pieces, now you're getting somewhere. There has to be an understanding of what does specific mean to you. So people will go footwork. Oh, Kyrie's in this position. I should get to that position. You're not being specific enough. How did he get there? What is he doing out of it? What is his ability to do everything else? Kyrie dribbles the ball and looks around, does this. That means I should work on that too. You don't need to work on that. We already know how to do that. I don't need more reps of that. What are the things that are actually holding you back from doing the things you want to do on the court? Anybody that's interested in the Good Drill system, we focus on everything we just talked about right now. Skill development, actual skill development. Skill development that is meant to give you the tools you need to breach the demands that are holding you back. The actual demands, and it works. When people actually put in the work with it, it works, and it's very obvious why it works. You're actually pushing your skill to the edge of its ability. So, Good Drill system, it's in the description under this video. Press it, check it out. Highly recommend it. Couldn't recommend it more. Been working on this with Bobby for the last 2 years. Something I would definitely check out. We have a Discord in there, exclusive Discord community where I'm in there. Other Good Drill coaches are in there. If you know Pat, Alex Merrow, Mark Howell, they're on social media too. And then obviously me and Bobby are in there. I would highly recommend it if you're somebody that is interested in actually improving and eliminating all the BS. It's like if I said, you know what? I make a lot of content. I need to get better at holding my phone. I'm going to spend 6 hours today just getting really good at just holding my phone because I need these muscles of my forearm and my bicep to work. It's specific. I do that. Yeah, you do that. I hold my phone. Do I need to work on holding my phone? No. What are the actual things that are really important for me? And it's for a lot of people, but just look at me. What do I need to be able to do? I need to be able to find the content that's actually going to work. Like, how do you position it? How do you make a hook? How do you tell a story? How do you give something valuable to somebody else? People look at things that just don't matter. And I don't know what that is, but they just look at things that don't matter. And the suspension, 45 inches in the air, is the same level of insanity as what most people do. Why do you need to work on that? You already know how to do that. So it's like when people say, oh, Mikins, you shoot wide open layups in games. Like, you're not going to shoot these crazy layups in games. But shooting Mikins is not going to get you better. You already know how to do that. Like, that's crazy. And yes, some people have wide open layups. But how did they get there? They got there because they're faster. They got there because they're stronger. They got there because they jump higher. They got there because they have options, and the defense has to respect the options. They got there because they could shoot. That's how they got to that wide open layup. If you do the thing, you put yourself in the situation that you want to get better at. You put yourself in the situation you want to get better. You don't have to think. Like, you know, as a human being, if you don't work hard, you're not going to get a result out of it. Nothing's free. And if you don't know that, then, like, whatever science you want to look at, you look at that from so many different angles. From intent-based training, from training to failure. Weight room is super easy because it's quantifiable. But, like, intent-based training, training to failure, speed training, like, you're not going to get faster by jogging. Your sprint is not going to get faster by jogging. If you don't know that, then you just don't know what it means to work. That's what I think. And that's why it's a principle. It's just an overarching theme of, like, you need to train hard. It's not just about specificity, though, for specificity's sake. That's what I'm saying. You have to be specific to the demands that you need to overcome. You need to overcome barriers. You need to figure something new out. It's so crazy because, like, you watch, like, high school players, they want to be college players. What does skill mean to you? You need to become more athletic with the ball in your hands. You need to be able to get from point A to point B with the ball faster. You need to be able to get from point A to point B without a ball faster. You need to be able to jump higher because you need those threats. It's all about the threat. It's the threat over anything else. Like, yes, you're going to be able to execute it, but you can execute it based on a threat. If I'm guarding somebody that has a lot to their game and they can do a lot, there's, like, a little bit of, like, a butterfly in my stomach. Like, ooh, like, I see that they could just shift quick that way. And it's like, even though they're not moving right now like that, like, I smell it, and then they pull up, wow, in my face. If I smell blood the other way around, where I'm like, oh, this person doesn't have anything, I'm just going to press them the entire time, and they're done. It's about figuring out how can you become dangerous in as many different facets as possible and as dangerous as possible in those facets. It doesn't mean that you're going to use all of that oomph that you have, but having it in your back pocket, everyone knows you got it. I could see how humans move, but even every other player knows it. They don't know how to describe it, but they know, like, ooh, that guy's good. They can't say why they're good or why they move good or why, like, what makes them good. It's like, ooh, that would be a scary person to guard. And then you guard them differently. And then everything else becomes easier. That's the whole goal. And going back to skill. It's so funny. An NFL player is more skilled at basketball than a Division III caliber high school basketball player. An NFL wide receiver is more skilled. And again, they are more skilled because their ability to compete at a higher level is higher. Their ability to compete and do well and complete the task is higher. Not anybody's weird definition of skill. That is the definition of skill. Everybody thinks it's naturally gifted stuff. Like, everybody thinks that if you're at point A in a certain skill level, if Z was pro, you can't get to Z. It's impossible. You have to be given a certain amount of natural talent. Like, people say this. They say, why are you training to be as good as Kyrie? You'll never be able to play like Kyrie. Like, why not? Like, who said so? Those people have no idea what the hell is going on with anything. There's a difference between where you start, that's genetics. Your max potential is also genetics. Me, I couldn't jump over 5 inches in 8th grade. I caught a dunk with my heel on the free throw line. How are you measuring those genetics? Like, where's that coming from? Yes, I'm 6'3". I could keep going if I wanted to. I don't think there's a starting point, which does make it easier because it makes it like, oh, you can get into flow earlier on in your career. And if you just don't stop, you can get there. And how do you get to a professional level of skill? It's by pushing your athletic skill to the edge of its ability. Because if you push your athletic skill to the edge, you will be able to ride the ride that requires you to be this tall. Oh, yeah, you're really good for D3, but you can't ever play D1. And those people are usually right because they don't have the athletic skill to play Division I basketball on average. They don't have it. They don't have it to play in the NBA. So how do you develop it? You try your best to look like the version of yourself that is capable of it. And you fail over and over again until you don't. And that's it. And you're going to get better over time. Something I always say, like Steph Curry's really good because he could do things that you can't do. And everybody says, oh, no shit, Ross. Steph Curry could do things I can't do. But it's like, then why aren't you training to do the things that you can't currently do? Steph Curry's better than you because he could do things that you can't do. And then people say, no, duh. And then I say, then why aren't you training to do things that you can't currently do? It's crazy. He is better than you by definition. By definition, he is better than you because he can do things that you cannot currently do. Like, it's a crazy thing that's so obvious. Like, that's by definition. He's more skilled than you because he could do things that you can't do. But people do things in training that they can so easily do. Why do I need to back that up? That you should be doing things that are extremely difficult. Like, why do I need to back that up with anything? Like, that's crazy. And then people think about going hard in the gym, going hard on the court in their training from a conditioning standpoint. That's not making you better. I'm not saying that it's not laying down a foundation in some capacity, which I love. You build the ability of resilience, you build that mindset, all of that. But it's like, at some point, if you want it to work out for you, you have to do things in a skillful way in a moment in time that you can't currently do. What can Steph Curry do that you can't do? He could do 1 rep of something that you can't do. At a type of difficulty of skill, he could do 10 out of 10 times that you can't even do once. So it's like, how do you get better? Do you like Steph Curry? What would Steph Curry do in this situation? He would be able to do this. All right, let me try to do this. You can't come nowhere close. You work on it for years till you can. And then you get there. You will get there. Like, I think everybody does have a different path because you could work on things in such a different way. And for me, it looked like this. That's what it was. Or like this. People need patience. You need to have patience. Or if you want to fit a certain timeline, do the best you can in that timeline. If you want to make sure that you could follow a traditional path of out of high school, 17, 18 years old, into college from 18 to 21, 22, then you got to start like right now and you got to hurry up. And then you want to play pro after, like that's a whole other beast of whatever. You got to just work every day. It depends on your goal and how much patience you're going to have. I don't think it's our job to decide if something is possible or not. I think it's your job to just give it everything you have. And it's not your job to say if it's possible. You just don't know what the hell. There's too much entropy. You're not conscious of everything. You don't have to think it's possible either. I'm just go the other way and say, you know what, screw it. Might as well just believe I could do it because it doesn't hurt. I don't think people should be worrying about that as much as they do. I think anybody can get to a certain level given the right circumstances, the right situation. I think anybody can do it at any age just because somebody hasn't done it before. I will just believe that.